And the whole world can see you, Scott.
Hey, what's good, Chiefs Kingdom? This is your guy, Scott, joined by Bo and Nick. Episode 3 of the Kingdom Cast. We're really glad you could join us. Go ahead and do us a favor. Hit that like and subscribe button at the bottom. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss an episode. It's Tuesday, 6 o'clock Kingdom time. We're here in the heart of Chiefs Kingdom. We got our man Bo representing out there in the 505. That's Albuquerque. For those of you who don't know that zip code. We're here after the Chiefs are victorious. I believe this is the first victorious episode of the Kingdom Cast, right?
I
boy?
think it is too.
Feels
good.
So
I thought we jinxed him for a second there. We're good.
The curse was short-lived. The curse is dead. We're going to jump in here and talk about the game here in a minute, but we got some news and some notes, some things to break down real quick before we get into the game against the Eagles. I saw Josh Gordon has been signed to the 53-man roster. He's off the practice squad. The team, as long as he doesn't have any setbacks, obviously something like that, if he impresses in practice like he did in week 1, they expect him to play in the upcoming game this Sunday night against the Bills. Just real quick, I want to get your guys' thoughts on that. Bo, Josh Gordon, what do you think we should expect right out the gate for him? You excited? Just what are you thinking?
I'm way excited, man. If anything, I'm excited to watch what defenses try to do to try to cover Josh Gordon, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill, man. I think that's something most defenses haven't faced, is the triple threat like that. Trying to plan for somebody that hasn't played in so long is going to be pretty interesting to see what the Bills do. I know they just trounced fucking Houston, so I'm curious to see what he does as far as changing their game plan. What about you, Nick? You excited for this move?
Yeah, I mean, what the hell are they going to do? Right? You've seen it through the last few games, right? Like, it's like they lock down Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce goes gangbusters. This last game, it's like they locked down Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, 3 touchdowns. Should have been 4. He was like this close to like the 4th touchdown, almost 200 yards. And then you add another big receiver in there. I mean, we already didn't punt last week, right? Like, the sky's the limit. It's I'm beyond excited. You know, I know that he's 30, right? And you know, to me that sounds pretty young. But it's getting older in NFL years. But he hasn't played for a couple of years. But all the reports are that, I mean, he looks great. You know, he came in at less than 10% body fat, looking like he's chiseled out of stone, just ready to truck some people and kick some ass. So I'm really excited, man. Scotty?
Yeah, it's like when you're a kid and you're waiting until Christmas and it's like December 21st and then December 22nd. Every day that goes by, I just get a little bit more excited for Josh Gordon. The fan base is excited about him too. You hear some people talking about him on the radio. You see things on social media, on Twitter. I'm excited about Josh Gordon, and I'm not apologizing. And Josh Gordon's season, bring it on. The Kingdom is pumped. I'm getting pumped. You bring up him being 30 years old, but he's a young 30, right? Because he's missed a lot of games, which we've talked about in the previous episode when we talked about them signing him. He should be a young 30 because he doesn't have the mileage on the tires,
right,
so to speak. He looks like a guy that's taking good care of his body too, like Nick referenced, and staying in shape. Yeah, sky's the limit with this offense already. They're number 1 or top 2 or 3 or 5 in pretty much every major statistical category that there is that they track. So, yeah, man, Josh.
There's a lot of players that are proving that 30 isn't what it used to be, right? I mean, you look at Brady, obviously he's kind of the anomaly, but there's a bunch of players. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the Packers game. Randall Cobb's coming back. He looked fierce this weekend. I mean, there's a bunch of players right now over that 30-mile marker that are changing the game, man. They're changing what that used to be.
Right. Yeah, no, it's wheels are going to be up on the offense, and Josh Gordon's going to be on board. And I kind of made a little joke on Twitter about you mix in Patrick and Hill and Kelce and sprinkle in a little D-Rob and a little McCole Hardman and CEH, and then you're adding like Chef Emeril, right? Bam, you're adding some Josh Gordon on top there, just getting crazy. I'm pumped. I'm ready. Let's go, Josh Gordon season all the way.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Get that 50 burger, Bo.
Let's get it.
It was close.
They might need it. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Another player, it's not a new addition because he was on the team last year, but he started off this year on IR. Willie Gay. There's news come out here I saw in the last couple of hours that he's been taken off of the short-term injured reserve, the IR list. He's been practicing with the team. He's a guy that if you've been watching the Chiefs and you've been noticing the problems on defense, a lot of what people are saying, especially the pundits and the people that get paid to watch football and break it down and analyze it that I follow, are saying the Chiefs just look slow on defense. This guy is not slow at all. He's a burner there in the linebacker position. He should be able to cover. He should be able to help get in there, run fits, stop some guys, maybe blow up some plays. Kind of a Josh Gordon thing. I don't know how much you expect right out the gate. Willie Gay, Nick, what are you expecting? You think he's a difference maker? You think he's just another guy? What do you think he's going to do for the defense?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like we needed the National Guard to come save us on defense against the Eagles. But I'm excited for him to come back. We need that speed. We need that solid play on defense. I think that he has a nose for getting to the ball carrier and making tackles. And I mean, any addition that we can have in a positive direction in defense is welcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I agree 100%, man. I kind of feel like linebacker especially is kind of that missing link in defense that we're missing. We always talk about the secondary. We always talk about the line with Chris Jones. We go back secondary with, Dirty Dan and the Honey Badger. The linebacker's kind of been a position that we've kind of glanced over all season. So like, I'm looking forward to getting somebody back there, like Scott said, that has speed, has that go get 'em attitude. I'm super excited. If he plays or not, we'll see. But I'm excited to have that position back and like somebody worth note and
it's apparent, right? Because like Dan Sorensen led the team in tackles. When your safety leads the team in tackles, you're gonna have a bad time because that means a lot of people are getting through the line. They're getting through your linebackers and they're making it to that back, portion of your defense. Now you can say that, Sorensen may have screwed up and had some, balls in his way. That's why, right? But at the same time, man, those guys they're like, there's just like this gap in the middle. And like Scott said, like our guys look slow. I mean, they just can't get to them. There's always somebody open that's like 5 yards downfield. We just need someone that's going to go in there with an attitude and just beat the shit out of some people. That's what we need. We need somebody with that mindset to go in there and scheme, whatever, just go and hit people and make them scared to come across the middle of the field, right?
Or at least be within a yard or two when somebody's throwing the ball after a scramble play.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. I think that's going to be the biggest contribution you're going to see from him is just being able to close down space and maybe hang with some of these running backs coming out of the backfield. Anthony Hitchens is a fine player, but he's on the back end of his career. He's not getting faster. Ben Neiman was on the Super Bowl team. Ben Neiman's a smart player. The coaches really like him because he can help get the guys organized out there, read the plays, know what's going on. But he's just not a speedster. And you see these plays where these guys catch the ball in the flat and they're either wide open or the guy that's with them just can't hang with them. Nick Bolton, the reviews have been mixed on him. I'm not savvy enough to know whether or not he has been a good, a bad, or just a mediocre player so far in his career. He's had some games, I think, where he led the team in tackles or was right up there. You see him make some plays, but you also see some plays where they isolate, they get a running back or a receiver on a slant or somebody on a short crossing route out there on him, and he just can't keep up with them. So, yeah, the speed is much needed. speed kills. That's the saying. So really excited to see what he can do. And he started to flash last year as he started learning the defense and getting mixed in more and getting more reps. Then he had the injury going into the playoffs at the end of the year last year. Then he starts out this year with a little bit of an injury. Let's just hope that is behind him. Let's hope that he can come in and make a difference on this team because the defense needs it. Let's break down this game against the Eagles. A real quick note, Andy Reid, he got that 100th win, Chiefs head coach. The Chiefs put out a pretty cool thing where it was on social media, the how about those Chiefs he does after the game. And it was just a mixed bag of the different things. It's so hard to believe for me that he's been here this long already. It seems like just a season or two ago that they were announcing that he was going to come here to KC and be the coach. First person, anytime you're the first person to do something in the history of whatever your profession is, it's got to feel good. It's a hell of an accomplishment. 100 wins with 2 different teams. No one's ever done it. The guy's obviously a Hall of Fame head coach, an offensive guru. So congrats to Coach Reid, to Big Red. It was good to see him back on the sideline too, the health scare, whatever that was. They never really talked about that. So, again, congrats, Coach Reid. We're glad to have you here. I think Patrick Mahomes, they were asking him about it. Did you guys see that in his press conference when they asked him, Patrick, about getting him that win? And he's like, I don't know. I'm just glad they let him go in Philadelphia. He was kind of like he was throwing a little shade at the Eagles for letting a Hall of Fame coach go. But his time there maybe was done. Sometimes a change of scenery, sometimes a new fit, something refreshes you. You can press that reset button. So congratulations to Coach Reid. This game with the Eagles, I want to get your guys' take real quick. We'll kind of get into the half by half, and we'll kind of break down some of the performances from the individual players. Nick, watching the game, how did you feel? What did you notice? What was going on with you during the game?
Well, I already talked about the defense. Obviously, we know that not forcing any punts is a bad thing, right? I mean, I think I saw a stat that there's only been 4 games in NFL history where neither team has punted. Unfortunately, the Chiefs have been in 2 of them. So, but the other thing there is that we didn't punt, right? We did have 1 pick, but otherwise, if you look at the line, it's like touchdown, 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 pick, touchdown, 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 right? So, I mean, any time you score all touchdowns, you're going to have a good day. And, just what my big takeaway is, like, dude, Patrick Mahomes is so good. Cheetah's so good, right? Our skill players on offense just make it look effortless. And I was, texting back and forth with some of my friends that live in the Philly area that I work with. And, I was getting really frustrated with our defense throughout the game. And then I just thought, I was like, man, I wonder what it's like to have to watch Patrick Mahomes against your team's defense. Because it's just it's like that every time for those teams, They just they're just he's this close to getting sacked. It's got to feel just demoralizing. And that was my big takeaway is that, the defense needs some work, but God damn, Patrick Mahomes is freaking good, man. I just love having that dude on our team. So, and it's good to be back in the W column, right? It's been a couple of weeks. It felt like a get right week. Got a big game coming up. Felt good to get a little bit of that swagger back. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with Nick. I want to go back real quick to Andy Reid and just I want to comment personally how remarkable it is that he's won 100 wins with 1 team. When you think that 1 season is 16 games, or if you're lucky, it'll extend a little bit past that. But I think on average a season 16 games. Now it's going to be 17, but. Man, and he did it with not only 1 team, but 2 teams. And then, like Scott was talking about, the stars are just aligning for him to do it for the second team against his old team. It kind of gives me goosebumps just kind of talking about it. But just, again, hats off to Andy Reid for that. Going into the game, I agree with Nick. Man, it was so refreshing to watch everything start clicking. Our defense was completely suspect. But oh man, like Nick said, our offense is, like he said, just so good. When they're firing, man. There's no stopping them. When defenses don't account for the cheetah, he'll obliterate you, as we just saw. I mean, he crushed it this week. My favorite player, Travis Kelce, wasn't that involved, but man, I hats off to him. He had a major role. We'll get into that this week or a little bit later, but man, it was just, again, good to be winning, good to be back in that W column, as you said. I'm happy. I'm glad we didn't jinx him starting this podcast talking Chiefs football and not having a win yet, but yeah, good we're there now. Glad we're there.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely a good thing. The curse, or whatever you want to call it, there was only for a couple of weeks. So, yeah, it was, man, I found myself getting frustrated, right? Because the defense is giving up. They're just getting gashed. They gave up over 10 yards of play on first down, I want to say, in the first half, and close to 10 yards
at
on
will.
Oh, man, it just seems like, I mean, it was just first down. And Jalen Hurts is a fine player. I'm not going to sit here and try and trash Jalen Hurts. He played at Alabama. He played at OU, two of the, preeminent college programs, and played at a high level. But the dude looked like freaking Peyton Manning or something out there.
Right?
He was just throwing passes and had wide open receivers just running all over. But then you watch our offense play, you watch Patrick Mahomes, and then I'm watching the Jets afterwards that they beat, and like their coaching staff and their players are on the sidelines just almost in tears. It looked like they just won a game. And here we are, spoiled ass Chiefs kingdom, like 2-2, and that, they got to fix this. And there's other teams out there that are just like, bro, if we could win one game, please just let us.
We've been there, though. We've been there. That's been my epitome of my Chiefs fandom right there.
But it's easy to forget too. So yeah, it was a fun game. The Chiefs won. The offense was on point. The defense had troubles again. It was frustrating, but the Chiefs were up by double digits almost the entire game. So damn, man, like I gotta calm myself down sometimes.
It just doesn't. But with our defense, it doesn't feel like a double-digit lead, right? That's part of the problem. Is it's just like you're like, well, you feel this pressure, like we've got to score a touchdown every time we touch the ball, or else we're boned, right? Like we're just
come back.
Yeah. Or else we're going to be down, and it's so. I think that adds to the stress, which, it makes it less enjoyable to watch. It's still fun, but when you feel that constant, like, okay, we've got to get like, I'll start feeling good when we get like 20 to 30 points ahead. Right. Only then will I feel okay. But
that's how you know you've been a Chiefs fan for that long, right? When you're up by 14, 17 points, you're like, I don't know. They can still come back, guys. There's the possibility, and it's us. They probably will come back. I mean, every single team is going on us at fourth down. I don't know what it is. Fourth down and whatever it is, teams are like, yeah, we're gonna go for it. I have no idea why. It's baffling.
Well, you look at, they were doing it in the first half. It's not even like they're doing it at the end of the game and it's close, right, and they know they need points. What it is to me, it's a couple of things. One, it's you understand that you've got to score points to hang with Patrick Mahomes and company and the Chiefs. You've got to score points.
Yeah.
Punting the ball, kicking field goals, you're not going to win punting the ball and kicking field goals against the Chiefs. But the other part of it is, well, why the hell would you not go when you're getting 5, 6, 7, 8 yards of play at will?
Yeah.
Why not? Go for it, man. It's a lot easier to get 10 yards when if you're averaging 3 yards of play, that's 9 yards on 3. You don't have to be a math whiz to know that. Fourth play, that's 12. Well, you got a first down. So, yeah, when the defense is as bad as it is and you're just gashing them and you're getting positive, that's the other thing too, is it's just positive play after positive play after positive play. 5 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards, 11 yards, 10 yards, 9 yards, 15 yards.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you not go for it on 4th down? So, but the Chiefs, and I think I maybe mentioned this on Twitter. The Chiefs, though, they need to flip the tables on the opponent and use that to their advantage. They need to get the other team off the field. That will negate some of that, right? I mean, you start stopping other teams. Now, you know what? You can't beat them scoring 3. You know you need to get 7. Well, you're definitely not going to beat them when you're getting goose eggs because you're going for it on 4th down and they're stopping you and you're flipping field position. That is something that other teams are doing against the Chiefs that they could flip, turn the tables on the opponent, and gain a massive edge, right? It's a double-edged sword for the opponent.
At what point, though, is that like just betting on black on a roulette table the entire time? Like, oh, it's going to be black. It's been black the whole time, right? At some point, I would hope this red would come up and get a stop in this red zone. 1 out of 30 or whatever it is. Like, are you just
they're going to keep doing it until like it doesn't work, right? I mean, they're going to look at it and they're going to say, look, we got like 60% chance of getting a touchdown if we go for it. And we know we got to get touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, we're dumb not to do it. And they're just going to keep doing it until the defense can get up and get a stop. And Scott, you're absolutely right. That should be a huge advantage for us. Like a couple of years ago, the Ravens game, the Ravens tried to do that. Didn't work. We kicked their ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were going for it. They could have got 3. They got 0. And all of a sudden we're up by 3 scores. So, it just takes someone standing up and making a play, right? And
that's
one of the things I'm disappointed about, is like that's what Honey Badger was to the defense when he came on, right? Mm-hmm. He was that guy. He's like, we're gonna have some dogs on this team, right? We're gonna come up, we're gonna smack them in the mouth. We're gonna have championship swagger. I'm too smart for you, and he has been like a non-factor. And I know that he's coming back from COVID. God bless him. I hope he's well, right? But like we need that voice on this team because Chris Jones like throwing his hands up in the air like get loud when like it's like, bro, you just gave up 4 first downs in a row on 1st down. It just sucks the wind out of the stadium. And it's like, why are we going to scream and yell? Like when we know, like we've seen the movie before, we know how it ends. It's going to end in a touchdown and it's going to be Patrick Mahomes, like having to be, like the greatest human on earth over and over and over again for us to be able to win. So.
Yeah, they need to do something about that. They need to turn that, they need to turn that from a weakness to a strength, from a disadvantage to an advantage. And other teams will stop doing it if it stops working. And maybe they won't. Maybe the numbers will stay the same and they'll still do it. And that just makes the game easier for us. It makes it easier for the offense. You're at the 40-yard line. You stop them. You get the ball. You're not starting at the 20 or the 25 after they score a touchdown or kick that field goal. And you've kept them off the board for a possession. Empty possessions, right, on defense. That's the goal, empty possessions. And if you ever watch basketball, they talk about that a lot. How many empty possessions can we force the opponent into where they have the ball, they use up time, they use up energy, they get nothing for it. It's demoralizing. It's going to help you flip the field position. There's no end to how much of an advantage that can be for the Chiefs if they can flip the script and start stopping some of these guys. And like we were talking about with Willie Gay being back, Frank Clark at some point, we talked about him last week. Maybe he comes in, maybe he can make a difference. I saw some talk about if he can come back, play defensive end at a high level, maybe they can move Chris Jones back inside where he's more disruptive. The Chris Jones's defensive end experiment is not going well.
Right.
This Philadelphia game, I don't even remember them saying his name on the broadcast.
The only time I noticed him is when he didn't pick up the fumble, right?
Yeah, when he didn't pick up the fumble. But I'm talking about making a play.
To his credit, they kind of were double teaming him all night. And there was a couple other defensive guys that were able to step up and make some plays. But I mean, like that's what you need, right? You need more of that. But that only happened 1 or 2 times that I can think of. I was going to go back just a little bit. The annoying thing to me about the 4th down situation with our team is that like it's not like these teams are going for it on their end of the field. They're going for it on their own 38, right? When like most teams are like, yeah, 4th and 2, that's too risky. Like we turn it over here, they're on our 38. Other teams doesn't matter. They're just going for it. And that's so frustrating to just watch. Just other teams at will, like Scott said, go 5 yards, 10 yards. Like, 4th and 2, no problem. We've been going 10 yards at will. Super frustrated with our defense right now, if you can't tell.
They're going for it on 4th and 4, 4th and 5.
Yeah.
I've never seen, in all my years watching football, I've never seen teams go for it on 4th down as much as they do against the Chiefs. But it's working. So, until you make them stop working, until you make it stop working, teams are going to keep doing it. So that's something, and I'm sure the coaching staff is aware of that.
Yeah.
Looks like we got a comment down there from Doug.
Ooh, look at Mr. Rogers. All right. I'm glad he's watching. That's awesome.
I don't know if one of you can see your screen a little bit better.
Yeah, so it says our defense started poorly last year, maybe the year before last. In the second half of the year, they turned it on and were really good. So maybe they'll turn around. God knows they need to.
That's very true. I think it was 2 years ago where we started off just as poorly, and we were able to turn around and make a Super Bowl run. I think we have the team that's still capable of doing that. I mean, the defense definitely has to tighten up some gears, but I mean, as pitiful as to say, if we're scoring 40 and the other team's only scoring 30, I'll take that all season long kind of thing. As frustrating it is to watch our defense kind of be Swiss cheese like that and have big gaping holes in that, but we still have number 15 at the end of the day, and I'll put my money on him any time of the day.
Yeah, no, and to make things a little bit better on the defense, especially this game, the Chargers, the all-22 when it came out, that 4th and 9 that we got the pass interference call on was absolutely just a ridiculous call.
Yeah.
Then last week they had Ben Neiman, who I was kind of bagging on at the beginning of the show a little bit. He had a forced fumble, recovered it, missed that call. That's a stop there in the red zone that takes 7 away from the Eagles. So some of it's been bad luck, but most of it's just been poor execution and poor play by the defense. So let's move on to something a little bit happier, though. I'm tired of talking about the defense.
Let's still talk about the game. I still have all these. Nick just brought it up. The Cheetah's back, baby. We have all these touchdowns. I can kind of play them in a row if you guys want. We can go one by one, but I don't think the Cheetah scored until 3 or 4 touchdowns in. But
I mean, I'm always game to watch Chiefs touchdowns, regardless of who's scoring. And just so you guys know, I'm Mr. Mom right now for the next little bit. So if I pop in and out a little bit, that's why. So
no, you're completely, you're good. I'll just play this first one. We can we can go touchdown by touchdown, or I can play the first couple. We'll just go with the first one and see. Yeah,
I'm surprised they're not set up in a power set here. I'd let this offensive line eat right now if I were them. Mahomes, roll. Underhanded toss for the touchdown.
So, I mean, first touchdown, kind of shovel pass. Sunday, what do you guys think about all these trick plays that he had under his sleeve here?
I mean, my buddy texted me when he did that first underhanded pass, and he said, that's a $45 million touchdown pass right there. Like Scott, may have a different take on this that he brings up. I just think it's part of Mahomes' swagger, man. Like, I think that he's just like doing stuff to make it look cool, right? Jordan didn't need to stick his tongue out when he dunked the ball. And to be honest, I'm surprised he never got hit in the mouth and like bit his tongue. Maybe he did and he just never, talked about it or whatever. But like part of like being that good is that like you don't just want to do dope shit, but you want it to look cool when you do it, right? So like I'm all about it, man. I think they're cool.
Yeah, and the underhand thing is kind of a sneaky thing too, right? Because you can kind of flip the ball real quick underhand instead of having to whine. You're holding it up. They know you're passing it. You kind of got it down here. Is he running? What's he do? And then you kind of toss it real quick underhand. So you kind of catch him off guard. You add the element of surprise. they were talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire said the name of that play. Did you see that this week?
I didn't.
Was Tom and Jerry is the name of that play.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So,
That's great.
yeah, which they have that when Fisher scored the touchdown, it was like Fish On or something like that was the name of the play. So they actually come up with those off to the side when they're doing special teams things. They kind of gave you some insight into that, and it's kind of just like the guys messing around and said, hey, this might work, and they go to Coach Reed. And so they practice it and they throw it in the playbook. And we've been seeing that for a couple of seasons now. That one was a little bit different because he was rolling out, right? It wasn't just, he kind of was stand there, do the play action, fake the handoff, and then toss it.
And it wasn't Kelsey.
Right. Yeah.
For
He was on the scoring end of those. They're the first few times they did it. I think they've done it to an offensive lineman. So people call that gimmick plays. They call it that's just creative. That's just guys out there, like Nick said, showing off, being creative. What can we do that's a little bit different that teams haven't seen before, that's something else they got to plan for? Because the next time Patrick Mahomes is rolling out on a bootleg or an RPO at the goal line, the opponent, that's just something else they got to think about, right?
Right.
Is this one of those underhand things? Is this one where he runs it in? Is this where he tosses it over their heads to the guy in the back of the end zone? Just add every little wrinkle you can into the game plan and into the offense. So you got the next one queued up there, Bo?
I sure do. Part of me wants to ask you guys though, how, like Nick said, like you want to look cool while doing all these cool throws and all this stuff, but like I'm also starting to think like how much of this is just trying to get away from orthodox football in the sense that like if you have all these secondary guys and you rise up to throw a pass, like that's so telegraphed, right? If you're just throwing some quick underhand, you're not seeing that. And it's so confusing to most defenses that I know they plan for these trick plays, but again, like I kind of feel like that's going to be the future of football, man. Like it's not going to be so orthodox, people stepping up in the pocket, kind of, traditional like that.
And I wonder if some of it is like stemming from the fact that, we don't have a really good power run game that, and I know that we'll talk about the rushing attack, which is fantastic against Philly, right? But you see us get stoned a lot at the goal line. And so I think that some of this is like they kind of need to mix it up a little bit. But I do agree with you, Bo. I think they're trying to, attack in a different way. People can call it gimmicky. I call it 6 points, right? Like I don't really care what you want to call it to tear it down. Like it works and it's worked a bunch of times, right? He's done that like past probably close to 10 times now.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I think that there's probably been one time that it didn't score a touchdown. And so like, I think it's neat. Scotty, Andy Reid is such a mega mind on offense that he is like, he's not just thinking about that play and setting up that play. He's setting up like 6 more plays throughout the course of the season that people are going to say, oh, he's rolling out, he's going to throw it to Helaire, and they're going to come off, and then Travis Kelce's going to be open on that play, right? So I think that it's really cool to see just like he's got like all the best toys on offense, and he knows how to use them, and he's just doing dope stuff. So
yeah, and just real quick, Andy Reid, you're talking about setting up, and he does these out of like the same formations and the same looks.
Yeah.
So it confuses the defense because
hides them really well.
They're thinking, oh, this is the underhand thing. Then he does something completely different. Then he does something different 2 or 3 weeks later. And the next thing you know, the defense is looking at a formation and they've got 6 or 7 different things that they've got to try to worry about stopping. And so, yeah, the dude's next level. That's what I think people talk about. Good head coaches like Andy Reid, they're playing chess when a lot of other guys are playing checkers.
Right.
So
I thought that's
super
analogy.
creative, super dope, super fun to watch, exciting. Others like Nick, it's kind of cool to hear what Philadelphia and other teams, fans and opponents' fans think when they see stuff like that, because it's kind of commonplace for us. We see them do stuff like that all the time, but that's a pretty cool look into how other fans and the league looks at things like that. So
I feel like we kind of had a taste of our own medicine against Baltimore. I feel like they were doing that against us pretty well. I mean, using Lamar as a running back and hiding the ball pretty well. Our defense didn't know how to handle that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like we're getting away from traditional football in that sense, and you're going to see a lot more trickery and like plays where you can't see the ball necessarily. So.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts had a few of those RPOs and stuff that he ran where like he fooled the cameraman. So I mean, credit to him. But it's a new era, right? The new quarterbacks are in, and
I just want to mention, I love it when a team fools the cameraman, by the way, right? Like they're on it 97% of the time. But when those 2 or 3% miss it, I love it. Just like, yep, I was following.
You know that the producer's going to be like, where were we on that one, dipshit?
Who was that? Was that cameraman 6? Get on. Was that Terry?
Jalen Hurts also threw the ball way out of bounds on 4th down. So let's go on to the next touchdown.
Right. So here's our second touchdown of the game.
Looking to cash in. Shotgun. Mahomes fires. Touchdown. Tyreek Hill.
How good is it to see that guy score this year, huh?
Yeah. The dude. Well, he had 200 yards and a couple touchdowns. I want to say in the first game against the Browns. He was kind of quiet by Cheetah standards, the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But teams are trying to do things, take things away from him. That's a sick play, like the timing and just that pass from Patrick to him. And the Cheetah, using his size and speed to be able to get down and catch that ball and kind of slide, almost like a baseball slide or something, into the end zone. Crazy. Yeah, it looks like we got a comment from Race Car down there. Cheetah killed it in fantasy.
He did.
As a
Crushed
Cheetah owner,
this week.
Yes, as a Cheetah owner, when you got a guy that's going to throw up 50 on the opponent, it's going to be tough to lose. Appreciate the comment. Thanks for checking in and tuning in with us, Race Car, man. It's cool.
In non-PPR, it was a little under 50, but still crushed it for non-PPR.
He and we'll get to the gratuitous touchdown there at the end. So, but Cheetah was back. That was the first touchdown of 3 for him on the day. Just a timing play that you don't see other quarterbacks and other receivers and other offenses making plays like that. You don't. I mean, he splits the defender, throws it low, almost right on the ground. Like I said, the guy's sliding when he catches it. Just something you see that they do all the time. You take for granted that other teams can't do that.
You nailed it with the word timing, right? Like he had the timing down so well, it stunned the defenses. It's like one of those plays in soccer where the goalie doesn't even react. It's like, oh yeah, you got me. Right. Same kind of play, right? Defense is like, oh man, that was so quick. But I mean, that's just also a testament to number 15 and his accuracy. And like that was a rocket too.
Yeah.
I mean, those two guys, I mean, like say that they're on the same page is way off. They're on the same sentence, they're on the same word, they're on the same syllable, right? Like those guys, they're lining up.
Yeah, probably the most underrated part of the Cheetah. I mean, everybody talks about his speed, but I mean his hands, right? I mean, the dude never. I mean, look, saying never, but he never drops the ball. I mean, I've seen those rockets go through Mecole Hardman's hands, when he's coming across there. But the Cheetah, man, and he had that catch on the sideline where he had to, reach out, fingertips, right? Catches 2 feet in bounds, and then has to do basically a front flip so he doesn't eat it into the referee, which, God bless him for taking out the referee there. I mean, he's just he's a freak, and he's not just fast, right? Like it's just impressive to watch, man. And it was great to see him back. And I put that in there because that was his quote right at the end of the game. They're talking to him. He's like, I know I've had a bit of a down streak, but the Cheetah's back, baby. So we're happy to have you back, Cheetah.
Yeah. The other thing too is that player talked about on the sideline, he actually got 3 feet in bounds, kind of showing off there before he does the somersault out of bounds.
Overachiever.
The ball on the tips of his fingers, man. And that wasn't a short throw either. That thing was lofted up. I mean, that was 20 yards down the field. The dude. He also gave a shout out to his fantasy play. People that have him on their teams, like Race Car was talking about. He goes, I know I let you down the last couple of weeks. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about you all when I'm having these big games. And how many times do you see these kind of like diva dick players that are like, I don't give a shit about your fantasy team and people hating on me? Like, the dude gets it. He loves the fans.
He has himself on his own fantasy team.
And he may have, he probably does have himself on some fantasy teams. So I get fantasy isn't the end all be all, that not everybody plays it, that players, it's not on the top of their mind. But to me, that's something that the fans enjoy. And when you see him, he's taking it into account when he's preparing for games and showing the fans some love. I like that a lot more than some guys just talking shit on fantasy. And I don't give a damn about your fantasy team and all this other stuff. So love the Cheetah. He's one of my all-time favorite players to watch.
Same. Let's get on to this third touchdown here. I know we're going to talk about the Cheetah more. So here's our third touchdown this week.
We'll go back to the pass here. Shotgun, shovel, off the bobble and catch, touchdown. Jody Fortson. Back-to-back weeks.
Shovel pass Sunday. I feel like it was, man. I feel like that was the play they ran. It works. I mean, don't
fix the new 88
it broke, right? But went to Nick's guy, Jody Fortson. How you feeling about that, Nick?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that that guy showed out in preseason. I think he's another guy that, I mean, just has Velcro for hands, right? Anything that seems to come that dude's way. That touchdown pass that he caught in the back of the end zone was last week against the Chargers. I mean, that was a rocket. And I didn't expect him to catch it, and it's still amazing that he did. So happy to see him come along. You know, it's been going back in the history books, but I think his name is Jason Dunn. Is that right, Scott? We kind of like a secondary tight end in the Tony Gonzalez era that would get open and get touchdowns, you know, here and there. And it's nice to have that guy on the team, right? That it's not just all on 87. Because all that does is it makes them have to spread the defense out more. So go 88.
Yeah, and he was go ahead, Bob. No,
I was gonna say, what if he's that new guy though? What if he's another threat? What if all of a sudden we have 4 aces up our sleeve? We're gonna get Josh Gordon out there, and all of a sudden there's this dude 88 you got to account for too, Jody Fortson, right? Like he's scoring touchdowns, he's huge, he's fast, he's grabbing balls, like I can see it happening.
He's a cool story too, because he was an undrafted guy out of a small college who's been back and forth on the team, off the team, on the practice squad, off the practice squad, and he hasn't given up. He's stuck in there. He's persevered. He hasn't given up on his dream, and now he's in the NFL scoring touchdowns. And we had it up there on the banner for a second. Give Travis Kelce the Emmy for the little bit of trickery there, pretending like he didn't know what was going on. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and try and say that I saw it, but I was kind of like, man, he ain't fooled, man. Travis Kelce, he knows.
Pretty obvious.
He knows what's going on, but I'm going to give it to him. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Kelce. You're the GOAT. Invitation.
Happy birthday, Travis.
The Kingdom Pass is always open, brother.
I feel like I've given him the nickname TMFK because that's what he is, right? Like he wasn't involved too much in this game, but even in that play, he was involved. You know, I mean, like you said, he wasn't fooling anybody. But I mean, I guarantee you there was 6 or 7 guys on the defense watching him and not Jody Fortson. And so, like, I really appreciate that he can even bring that kind of element to our offense.
Yeah, there's more to football than stuff in the stat sheet. So.
Right. All right, we can go on to our next touchdown play. This will be our 4th touchdown. We scored a bunch. We scored 6 touchdowns. Man. All right, number 4. Here we go, guys.
Darrell Williams, touchdown, Kansas City.
Well, edited that about an hour before this started, so we know.
Don't worry, the internet never forgets, Bo.
That was that was the gratuitous Darrell Williams poaching my touchdown from Clyde Edwards-Helaire in my fantasy league. So, yeah, you're just trying not to remind me of that. I still won that league anyway, but I appreciate you trying not to rub that in too much, Bo. That's pretty solid of you.
That is precisely what I was doing with that edit right there. I'm glad you noticed, Scott.
Do you guys think that Darrell Williams, I mean, is he a better option at the goal line than CEH? I mean, he's a bigger dude.
Good question, man. Like they used him a lot in this game. I liked the mix that they threw up between CEH and Williams this game. It's hard to say. I mean, CEH had some good runs this week. I feel like I texted you guys both during the game. He had a couple runs that should have been more. He had some good runs. I mean, we were kind of ragging on him for only having like 9 or 8 yards a carry, or that was his longest run was 9 or 8 yards. This one, I feel like he got like 17 or 20 against Philly.
Average like 7.
I still feel like those runs should have been further, man. They Mack trucks through those holes, and there was one guy to beat, and he didn't beat the guy. They just open field tackles 10 yards down the field. So I mean, I didn't see that from I didn't see any spark from Darrell Williams though in any aspect either to be like, oh yeah, he's the guy you should definitely put out there instead though.
Yeah,
I did see in Pro Football Focus that they said CEH had like first or second in broken tackles so far this season. But
really,
I know it's surprising. But sorry, Scotty, go ahead.
No, Darrell Williams is a fine backup running back, but I mean, if you're at the 1 inch line or the 1 yard line, and you're like, and someone's a better option than you, come on, man. Like you get 1 yard, you're the starter, you only get 1 yard. So that's with the line is starting to gel, and you saw some more power run stuff, which was good and encouraging to see. But yeah, I don't know. Darrell Williams, fine player. He's a good role player. He's the kind of guy you need on the team when you're paying big money to some other positions and some position groups. So yeah, I don't have any problems with Darrell Williams.
If you were getting paid big money, Scott, who would you start, CEH or Williams? If you were in that coaching spot,
I'd probably bring back Darwin Thompson and let him but
hidden option number 3.
I'll go with CEH. I think maybe he can catch passes a little bit. Maybe he's a little bit more versatile. I don't think there's a big gap between the two, though. Honestly, I don't. It just like we were just talking about. It feels like you see these runs, and it feels like he gets 10 or 15 yards, and you feel like it should have been a 20 or 25-yard run. But maybe I'm being hypercritical. Maybe I'm being a little too tough on CEH. He's had back-to-back 100-yard games, so we're going to give him a little bit of love. And I'd probably still roll him over Darrell Williams, just because I think they're close to the same player, and maybe it's like McKinnon or Darwin Thompson was on the team before. Those guys might have a little bit more speed, a little more burst to their game that maybe I would like to see, especially on some of these big holes that the offensive line is opening up, and maybe you can get to tack on some more yards at the end of these runs. But yeah, I don't know that they're all that different of a player.
I'm still surprised at that stat that Nick brought up that he is leading broken tackles.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, he's upped his average to 5 yards carry on the season.
I mean, dude, my friends in Texas, they're big Chiefs fans too, and they text me all the time like CEH. And I kind of jumped on the non-CEH train. He's like, and they like started pumping me with stats like, dude, he's averaging 5.8, 5.9 yards a carry. Look at this game. He's at 9 yards. I'm like, yeah.
He obviously watches the Kingdom Cast. He saw this. I sold my stock on him, that we were talking trash about him. So we're going to continue to talk trash about him for the rest of the season.
If that's all it takes to
if he's going to get 7 yards of carry out of
that's all it takes.
That's all it takes, man.
Trash.
His career long
easy
game. 31 yards. So
31?
Yeah, we're talking about that, and I think it was the first or the second episode. He still doesn't have like one of these big, long 50, 60, 70-yard runs.
Mahomes has a longer run than that. I know he does.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Again, we keep going to the running. Let's go with our 5th touchdown here. I think I edited it right. We'll see it all, I think. Here we go.
Edwards-Helaire's got a first down. And then some. Hill shifts out of the backfield. 10 plays on the drive. 8 of them runs. Mahomes swings it. Touchdown! A laser beam to Tyreek Hill. And the gymnastics move to top it off.
It is so fun watching those replays. God, that one was a little long. The one before that was a little bit short. But, again, timing, accuracy, that play, just, again, those two are on a different level than any other quarterback-receiver combo in the league. Am I wrong?
No.
maybe in history. I mean, it's
Maybe in
it's getting to that point, right? Like, it's you've only got another couple of years where you're going to start seeing some of those records with Harrison and Manning and some of those things start to pop up between Cheetah and Mahomes. I mean, it just the timing is impeccable. The fact that the Cheetah can get that kind of separation that quickly, right? I mean, because like he's like basically covered, and Mahomes throws the ball, and he just is able to break away and score a touchdown. As he's getting position on guys, it's just it's a lot of fun to watch, man. And then the backflip / back handspring, Scott, in the end zone off the football. He's not doing it into the end zone. He's not getting penalties, right? Like
he's not doing it on the opponent's sideline, so he's not getting taunting calls.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah, he's got the deuces on his hand, so he can just wave now.
Right. That's because that's the difference between ruining the youth of America. You do the backflip after you score the touchdown instead of before you score the touchdown or during score the touchdown. So we don't have to worry about these kids and what they're seeing Tyreek Hill, and he's setting a bad example and taunting. And
I'm sure most gymnast professionals would agree the back handspring is way safer than the backflip.
That's the other thing too, man. When you see guys doing stuff like that, it's cool, and let them be themselves. You don't want to bottle up their enthusiasm and their personality. But at the same time, you don't want the dude twisting an ankle, scoring a
Lamar Jackson's butt cheek, man.
In a week 5 game, a week 4 game, early season.
I know a defensive lineman isn't the same caliber as those guys, but I've seen defensive guys hurt themselves jumping up and down celebrating. So yeah, I don't need these guys doing backflips into the end zone.
Yeah, that's
fantasy teams suffering.
Yeah, that's and that touchdown. That's almost an undefendable play, right? Just what are you going to do to stop that?
And it's again one of those plays where like the defense just looked stunned. Like they I didn't even know what to do there. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't even react.
You can do. There's nothing.
Yeah. What do you think that guy's coach is saying in the film room? He's just got to be like, that guy's just like the best human at doing that in the planet. So don't change.
Yeah, maybe try to get closer to him and jam him, but he's gonna undercut you. The dude's so quick. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you just got to tip your hat to the other guys sometimes when they make a play, when they do things that other people can't do and that you can't stop. That's really what it comes down to when it comes to those type of plays.
But also it's those types of plays, right? Those timing and accuracy plays that like I don't feel like we were seeing in the second and third game of our season where we were like kind of like criticizing the Cheetah and like giving more props to the opponent's defense. Like, oh man, they're covering them with 2 safeties. It's like, no, I don't think it's that kind of thing. Like obviously it's not. They were covering him twice. Or double teaming Cheetah, still making those plays, absolutely stunning the defense. So like tipping my hat to Bieniemy and Reed for coaching around all these defenses, trying to do that to these guys.
Well, and Patrick talked about that in the post game presser. He said that when you win and win and win and win and win, like it gets harder and harder to have kind of that amount of focus. And I'm never going to say that having a 2-game losing streak is a good thing, right? Because it's not. But if they can take any positives out of it, right, and they can come out with a renewed focus and understand that look, these teams are good, right? The AFC is good this year. I mean, there's loaded teams everywhere. And if you guys want to get back to a 3rd straight Super Bowl, like quit messing around and get out there and get it, right? You guys, they have all the talent, and that's always been the thing I talked about this on one of the previous ones. It's always been the most frustrating part, right? When they lose, it's like you never feel like they lose because they got beat. You always feel like they lose because they lost the game. They screwed up. Even in the Super Bowl, I mean, it's just penalties and like just doing dumb stuff, right? Like dropping balls, like you just feel like whenever they lose, it's always their fault. And so it's good to see that, they had a really sharp game that they got right. And, we got a big game coming up. So.
All right, and finally, our 6th touchdown. I was hoping for one more with a little 2-point conversion in there, but we'll watch the 6th one in here. Here we go.
Conversion to Tyreek Hill into Philadelphia territory.
The formation, one of the receivers didn't think well enough and covered up a lineman.
Mahomes off his back foot, sails it deep and caught by himself, Tyreek Hill. 5 touchdowns on the day for Patrick Mahomes.
How many of those touchdown throws, or those throws, did you guys witness Alex Smith make, Matt Castle make, all these quarterbacks make, and you were just like, what are you doing, right? But then when Patrick Mahomes make it, you're like, oh, somebody's down there, something's going on. Like he was throwing it away. And then it turns out Tyreek Hill is 20 yards by himself in the end zone. It's like, yeah.
That reminded me of that Sammy Watkins touchdown against the Titans in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Where it's just party time, right? And it looks like it was blown coverage, but I mean, Cheetah put a move on that dude, and they did that. Somebody did that guy dirty by leaving him one-on-one with Tyreek Hill in the backfield.
Yeah, I think that's what the young people call being shook, right? Like, the dude got shook on that play by the Cheetah. The dude woke up this morning still looking for Tyreek Hill, still doesn't know where he's at. Yeah, the guy, he made that outside cut. It almost looked kind of like the Wasp play where he cut right and then went back, and the defender was like just bent, folded over,
right.
And didn't even know where he was at. On the
Making
field.
people look silly.
And part of that too is situation set that up. They think it's that the Chiefs are going to they're trying to run the ball, run the clock down. They've got a 12-point lead at that point. And you kind of catch the defense off guard. They're not expecting you to throw it deep in that situation. But yeah, the Cheetah dude, he's just, we've had it up there the whole night, the whole show. Cheetah's back. He's back. He when the dude gets loose, man, one of the best descriptions, the voice, Mitch Holthus, it was his first or second season, and Tyreek Hill, it was before you really knew who Tyreek Hill was. And I remember hearing Mitch Holthus say, the Cheetah is loose. And I was just thinking, that's exactly what that is like, dude. If you had a cheetah out on the field and you were trying to get, like, oh shit, the cheetah got loose, man. Like,
just eating people alive.
Yeah, dude. Like, the cheetah's loose, and good luck corralling him and getting him back in the cage, man. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Shout out to the Eagles, though, for social distancing during this whole Delta variant wave, though. That was nice of them.
Yeah, no, that's he had more than 6 feet, I think, but
oh man. Again, it's just great to watch these highlights. I know I put them in like not too long ago, but watching the highlights doing this podcast is just so fun. It's fun on weeks like this, though. Aggravating, though, when you're watching all the game highlights and you have to watch all these calls the refs come up with, though. Like,
oh, dude,
absolutely baffling to me. Like, I don't think I've ever been more frustrated watching a game than I was watching not only this game, but just watching all of Sunday's games, man. I've never seen it so bad where I just guess like the refs need TV time, or they feel like they want to be a part of the game because they dressed up too and they were in the locker room and like, we got to go do something, guys. Like, I don't get it. They're missing some of the most obvious calls and like blowing some of the worst calls I've ever seen.
They that play where it was towards, I want to say it was in the second half there. I can't remember if it was third or fourth quarter where the Eagles receiver, I think maybe Smith, ran out of bounds and came back in and caught the touchdown. And they're standing around huddling, trying to decide whether or not the defender kind of eschewed him out of bounds and pushed him out of bounds, or whether he went out voluntarily and came back in. And so while the referees are huddling, they're showing the replay, and the Eagles receiver has a handful of Mike Hughes jersey and is shoving him to the ground, and the freaking referee is standing there like this, 2 yards away.
Right there.
Dude, it doesn't matter. What are you talking about him, whether he went out of bounds voluntarily or not? it's pass interference.
Yeah.
And if you want to go to our Twitter page at the Kingdom Cast. I got a good still shot of it that I tweeted out. You can find it there, and it's just okay. Sometimes the referee's got a bad angle, or he's on the other side of the play, or he's trying to track the cheater, some of these guys down, and he can't keep up, and he's trying to see what's going on 20, 30 yards in. This freaking dude is literally from me to my phone right now, and he can't make the ball right. God, the TV was in jeopardy. You can see my TV right back there hanging on the wall. TV was in danger.
If that was the case, right, like some 60-year-old man can't keep up with the cheetah, I wouldn't be like, what is this guy doing, right? But no, man, it's a delay of game call that, like, as soon as the clock turns 0, the flag was already on the field right as the clock turns 0. And you're like, that's not how this works for any other team. Is it just me as a Chiefs fan? Like, come on.
Well, I think that they got a wake-up call with that Lions game, because the Ravens won on that 66-yard NFL record field goal, and it was like a second and a half pass. They should have blown it. I don't think he's going to make a 71, right? And so I think that they probably sent out a memo like, we got to get this figured out. But yeah, it's super frustrating because I've never seen them throw delay a game flags that soon.
Yeah, me neither. Just a ton of blown calls this weekend, though. It doesn't even extend to this game. I was watching the Chargers-Raiders game, and the taunting calls they were throwing. I know I hate to even bring up the game, but, I mean, the Raiders made a great play. Carr threw it to Waller for about 20, 25 yards. Waller gets up, excited. All he's doing is looking down the end zone, spins the ball, taunting call because he was too close to the sideline. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what are we even doing here? It's just getting frustrating to watch how much the refs are not only participating but affecting the outcomes of these games, because I don't know. I've seen too many of this. Go ahead.
It's like I said earlier, Bo, you got to explain to the kids if he spins the ball too close to the sideline. Now, if he does it more towards the middle of the field, it's all good.
Fair game.
Just like back flipping into the end zone as opposed to back flipping after you're in the end zone. That makes all the difference in the world. They've I said this last week. They've sucked ever since I can remember. They sucked last week. They're going to suck this week, and they're going to suck next week.
The announcers were pointing out that this isn't like a rule change that was brought up by, the commission or something like that. It was like the coaches committee. And it's like the newer coaches like Sean McVay and Jim Harbaugh, or not Jim Harbaugh, but the younger Harbaugh, and all these younger coaches, like, they're for this. They're for these taunting calls. They want to see the NFL emphasize these, in my mind, BS penalties, man. Like, I don't understand where this mentality is coming from. That's not even a part of football to me.
Right. Now, I will stick up for some of I've never liked the play where the guy won't get off the guy, right? He's standing over him, and he's looking down, and he's directly taunting the opponent. I wasn't raised to play sports like that.
Sure.
I can see those. But when the guy's not looking at anybody, he's spinning the ball, or the dude scores a touchdown and he wants to do a backflip, and it's not – yeah, I'm with you. It's one of those things where they've overcorrected. It was like the catch rule. Right, that they had a horrible thing where Des Bryant, they said it wasn't a catch. So then they've got to go through and completely overhaul the system and the rule and make it just absolutely as ridiculous. But now it's this side of ridiculous instead of this side of ridiculous, overcorrected, overreacting, typical NFL BS when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, too much discretion, right? I mean, you give the refs too much discretion, and they're going to get overly involved in the game. And that's just the way it is. Sorry, I had to step away for a second, but what did you guys talk about the fumble call at the goal line?
No.
Dude, so if they could change one thing, like, I have no idea why, if they call that a turnover, they're going to totally look at it and review it and make sure it's good. But if they don't call it a turnover, we're going to give you like 3 seconds while the other team runs up to the line to make a decision on whether you want to burn one of your challenges and a timeout on this. Like, why do they not just say, okay, like, I think MLS has this, and obviously, like, MLS has issues with when they actually review stuff to overturning it, but like, why don't they have like some discretion? And I think Major League Baseball has it where they can say, hold up, we got to take a look at this, right? Like, because you're dependent on some guy that sees something in a split second. And I mean, that could have potentially changed the game, right?
Mhm.
Like, you're talking about a 7-point swing there, where, you know, like, they ended up scoring a touchdown. We should have had the ball. I mean, you know, shame on Andy Reid for not calling it, but like, anybody that talks about like correcting processes, you know, not to get all corporate world on you, like, once there's a mistake made, like, it's really hard to like depend on somebody else to try to find it and correct it. Like, they need to work on getting it right, and then like giving people the options of actually checking some of this stuff. Because I mean, I know if they want to shorten the games or whatever, like, you know, they could do that between the kickoffs. There's lots of options where they could shorten the game if they're saying it's like taking too long.
TV timeouts.
Yeah, TV timeouts. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously they're not going to do that because of money, but God damn, that pisses me off, man. Like, when it's like, oh, well, if I called it this way, then, you know, we totally would have reviewed it, but otherwise we're not. And, you know, like, I was talking with Scott about this, and it's like, okay, so why don't they always call that a turnover then? You know,
Yeah,
if it's ever close, just call it a turnover.
The side of where technology can help you out, right? Like,
Right.
Why wouldn't you rule it on the side of where instant replay could technically save your ass right there, right? Like, instead of making a glaring mistake, oh, call it the other way, go to replay. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's right, it's right.
Yeah, it just doubles down and makes you more irritated. It's like, oh, well, we're not going to review this play because we made the wrong call. Like, what did you? You're just adding to the ridiculousness of it.
Especially as a fan watching, you just can't even wrap your head around it. You're like, what? Like, watching it, and then they just go on with the game, and you're like 2 or 3 plays later, still just like, I still can't believe that.
Right, and I put it out there on Twitter during the game. It said, so all turnovers are reviewed except for the fumble by the Eagles. Got it. Like, makes sense, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
And all scoring plays are reviewed except for, you know, for like delay a game, right?
But Nick was right, dude. That's kind of on Andy Reid for not challenging that, or at least burning a timeout to look at it, man. It reminded me of the play, I think it was last year in the championship game. Might have been it's been a long day, where Tyreek Hill caught a touchdown pass, kind of bobbled, landed on it, and he caught it. He's like, I got it. And then they're like, no pass. They didn't review it. And then for some reason last year, they rushed the punt. And I was just like, why are you rushing a punt, not looking at this play? And same thing here. Like, I know that it wasn't in our hands to rush the play. It was on the Eagles. But, I mean, call a timeout, have your guys in the booth look at it a couple times, throw the challenge flag. Hey, all of a sudden it's our ball on the 20. Here we go. We're going to go up by that 20-point lead that we say we never really get.
Right. Yeah, and the play you're referring to is even more ridiculous, like you said, because we rushed our own punt instead of taking time to review it. So the coaches are human. They're going to make mistakes. You'd like to think the other week. When I saw the first replay on TV, I thought it was a fumble.
Me too.
And they were still hurrying up to the line. Now, Andy Reid's not looking at TV. They got someone in a booth, and I don't know if there's maybe a delay or they've got to.
But they have a huge fucking jumbo screen that they're looking at too.
Right.
Sorry.
Right. But the guy in the booth is looking at it. Then he's got to determine, that's a fumble. Radio down to Andy. Andy's got to get the flag. It's not as easy as me sitting there seeing the review on TV and going,
I think Andy said they didn't show it on the Jumbotron.
Well, they're in Philly, so why? I mean,
why would they, right? I mean, look, we've done that before at Arrowhead.
Throw an extra 100 in the video guys, the media guys for the Eagles paycheck for that week. Smart on his part, but they've got people in the booth. Both teams have like a professional guy that they hire to review stuff like that. But it's a bang bang thing. Yeah, it's disappointing. Just make the right call though. If it's close, call it a fumble. or called an interception, like Nick said, so you can review it and make the right call.
Yeah.
Don't say, well, we're not quite sure, so he's down by contact. It really wasn't even that close either.
Is it one of those plays, though, that like if it turned around our way, we'd just be like, whew, it sucks for them for not calling a timeout. Got away with one there, right? Like,
yeah,
I feel like I'd be in that boat.
So, but well, you guys want to talk about this game coming up against the Bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
What are you thinking, Scotty? How are you feeling against this team? They're looking good.
This I've been thinking about this game, and you look at the two teams' season so far. You look at the Chiefs; they're 2-2. They could be 3-1. They could be 4-0. They've played a tough schedule. When you look at the Browns, the Chargers, the Ravens, I mean, shit, those three teams right there could be playoff teams.
Probably will be.
Probably will be. At least two of the three will be. Then you look at the Bills, and it looks like a terrible, horrible matchup for the Chiefs because the Bills are out there. They're scoring a boatload of points. They're boat racing their opponent. They're putting up 30, 40 points. They've got 2 shutouts. And when you look at the matchup with the Chiefs, you think, well, if they can score a lot of points and their defense is good, that matches up very, very poorly for the Chiefs. But the Bills, the two big games, they boat race these teams and shut them out. Like this last game, 40-0, was the Houston Texans with a backup quarterback. You look at the Miami Dolphins game where they had another blowout win. The Dolphins, I don't think, are a playoff team this year. They hurt Tua. They knocked him out of the game. They're playing a backup quarterback, Miami. The Chiefs, they're not playing the Houston Texans and the Miami Dolphins with backup quarterbacks in this game. They're not.
Right.
The Chiefs pretty much manhandled the Bills twice last year. The score wasn't as close as the game actually was in the regular season at Buffalo, and kind of too in the AFC Championship game. The Bills kind of scored a touchdown there late, got an onside kick, made it closer. They handled this team pretty easily. Have the Bills really made up that much ground since then on the Chiefs? It's just so hard to get a read on how this game is going to go. Anybody I think that says that they know or has a good outlook on what's going to happen in this game, they're just guessing.
Right.
Because the sample sizes, the Bills lost to the Steelers at home. And then they've kicked 2 inferior opponents' ass with backup quarterbacks. But the Chiefs also, their defense is a liability, which doesn't bode well for Josh Allen and that offense and the way they've been humming and scoring points. The Chiefs' offense is just as good, if not better, than the Bills. I'll take Patrick Mahomes over Josh Allen. No surprise there. I'll take Tyreek Hill over Stephon Diggs. I'll take Travis Kelce over whoever the Bills tight end is. Can't think of the guy's name. The defense, the Chiefs' defense, has some playmakers, but they've been getting roasted. They got roasted by the Eagles. What the hell are the Bills going to do to us?
Right.
I don't even know what to think. I'm just going to be straight up. I'm going to be honest. I don't even know what to think about this game.
Yeah, man. Last week I was like, I feel like we have an easy game and then a hard game, then an easy game and then a hard game. And this is going to unfortunately be one of those hard games where, like, yeah, they're throwing up a buttload of points, dude. Like they went 40-0 last week. Like that's no joke to do against any football team. Yeah. But football math's always funny, right? Like this team beat that team, so we're good on that team. It's kind of like any given Sunday. I would rather take the Chiefs than any other team at this point right now, regardless of what our defensive woes are. Like I like that we're scoring 30, 40 points a game and teams are only scoring 30 on us. Like it sucks that they're scoring 30 on us, but again, if we're scoring 40, I'll take that. The Bills, though, they're tough, dude. Josh Allen, I feel like he's going to give us the same problems the Ravens gave us. I feel like they're just going to kind of look at those tapes and watch the QB sneaks, the QB runs, because that's what he can do. I mean, he's a big, aggressive quarterback that can run it, so I don't see him doing anything different than the Ravens did, and that was a successful game plan for the Ravens. So that's kind of what I'm worried about, is watching him just kind of run all over us, but hopefully hopefully our defense is working on that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I could will the Bills losing into existence with our game picks on Saturday. I picked Houston to win. It's unfortunate that that's going to live on the internet forever. But yeah, I mean, 40-0, 35-0 against any team is impressive. The Bills look like maybe they're really hot. I hope they're just getting really hot at the wrong time of the season because, if you're going to be really hot, you don't want to be really hot like week 3 and 4.
Right.
That's kind of my – just real quick, that's kind of my point, though. The Bills did this at the end of last year.
Yeah.
They were just completely crushing people, winning every game by 2, 3, 4 touchdowns. Then they rolled into the playoffs, struggled a little bit with the Colts, came into Arrowhead and got their ass kicked by the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So, But
the Ravens did it, right? The Ravens were just beating up on people, and I called it feasting on bad teams, right? They were just they were just destroying teams. And Lamar Jackson was, mid third quarter going. They're bringing in RG3, but then they actually had good competition, and they get bounced in the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. Against the Titans, who they went to the AFC Championship game that year, but they weren't that great. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen. That's the reason that they play the games. I feel good about this. I feel good that we're at home. I feel good that we have 2 wins against Josh Allen and team. I think that we got under their skin in that last game at the AFC Championship. We got them out of character. Josh Allen's throwing balls in people's faces and stuff. And that stuff doesn't just go away, right? All those things are going on in their minds. And maybe it's motivation for them to play extra good, but if we can get them emotional and take them out of their game, and then we can just demoralize them with Cheetah, hopefully a revamped Josh Gordon and, Travis Kelce, our O-line looks like it's coming together last week for, running, right? If we can do what we did to the Bills last year, or, we can just run the ball and hold the ball for 6 or 7 minutes a drive. All we need to do is get a couple stops on defense, right? Mm-hmm. So, I feel good about it. I don't feel great about it. I'm not sitting here saying, put all your money on the Chiefs. But I also don't.
50 burger.
50 burger. But I also am not sitting there scared going into the game because I feel like Josh Allen is an inferior quarterback to Patrick Mahomes. And as long as we have number 15 playing, I just feel good about our odds, man. We're at home. I just bring it. We've already made our stupid mistakes for the year. I'm sorry, Bo, what'd you say?
I said most quarterbacks are an inferior quarterback to number 15.
Yeah. So bring it. And we'll see if they can come out of here with the W. Credit to them. I don't think it's going to happen though. So.
Yeah, Sunday Night Football at Arrowhead Stadium is going to be rocking. It's the AFC Championship game. Last year was a night game too, right? I feel like I should be more worried about this game than I am. And I don't want to be a homer, and I want to try to think that I look at things objectively, and that there's just some trends from both teams this season that just suggest it doesn't match up well with the Chiefs. But again, just because you kicked the hell out of the Dolphins and the Texans with their backup quarterback doesn't mean you're going to come into Arrowhead Stadium and kick the hell out of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. So,
another thing, sorry I cut you off, Scotty, is that, Josh Allen got a couple of MVP votes last year and Mahomes didn't. And, Patrick doesn't always take that so kindly, right? That he feels like he's been disrespected in favor of somebody else. So I think he hasn't said it, and it's only a couple of votes, but I bet you that's playing in the back of his mind somewhere too, right?
I also want to point out, I agree with everything you just said. And Patrick Mahomes was one fumble referee call away from scoring that 50 burger. So Nick got the points last week that I didn't get. So I agree with that. I don't think he's going to come out with a 50 burger this week, though. The Bills are a little bit better of a football team than that. But yeah, I wouldn't say put your money on the Chiefs. I wouldn't say they're going to cover the spread by any means, but I'm still hopeful. I think I still feel like we have the Super Bowl team.
Yeah. Chiefs are what, 3.5-point favorite, right? Is what I saw.
Think so, yeah. It might have went to 4.
Which is, that's if you get 3 for being the home team, that means maybe Vegas thinks this is a pick on a really, really close game. Chiefs, they just, Patrick Mahomes, I think he got one MVP vote last year, maybe, but still, he didn't get as many as Josh Allen. And like when you saw the NFL 100 a couple of years ago, and Patrick Mahomes was voted 4th, and Lamar Jackson was 1. And he went in there and kicked the Ravens' ass on Sunday Night Football. He was doing counting on his fingers. The dude pays attention to that stuff, most definitely. Yeah, I guarantee you that's on his mind. And I think I heard this analysis too when they were kind of interviewing, and I kind of picked up on this too, that when they were interviewing Patrick and he was talking about being 2-2 and being behind these other teams in the division, he was almost kind of like smirking when he was talking about it, like almost kind of like, we'll see about that, right? Like we'll, they got a game on us right now, and it's week 4, and we've put our backs in. He was saying the right things, but he was almost had this look to him and this kind of like smirk to him, where he was kind of like, bro, are you seriously talking to me about these freaking bum ass teams being ahead of us? And you also, there were some people too on Twitter. There was a power rankings. I did not see who put it out, that they didn't even have the Chiefs in the top 10. And a lot of people were making sure to post that and tag Patrick and the Cheetah and the Honey Badger and Chris Jones and these guys saying, "Oh, our Bills number 1 and you're not even top 10, huh?" So, hey man, if you can play that, this might be the one time in Patrick Mahomes' career with the Chiefs, and since he's been the starter in Kansas City, where maybe they can use that underdog card, that disrespect card. Like, fools are really going to disrespect us and put these other guys ahead of us, and we're, the Chargers are the team to beat in the division now. The Bills are the best team in the AFC. We kicked their ass twice last year. We've been to the Super Bowl representing this conference 2 years in a row. We've had the championship game 3 years in a row in our house. They might have been poking the bear a little bit here recently. So, Bo, you guys want to pick a score? What do you think?
Ooh, the score. Wow. I see an offensive shootout. I'm just kind of hopeful. Our defense is kind of working on some stuff this week, man. Like I would like to see it tighten up, get some more 3 and outs. I don't think we had too many this past week. If I had to pick a score, it's going to be a close one. I know that. I would say 35-31 Chiefs.
I was going to go 38-31. All right, I'll go 38-31. Sorry to.
No, you're good.
Close you in there.
Priced is right, me. That's good.
Yeah. $1, Bob.
I'm going to go 45-40 Chiefs. Wild game.
All right.
A lot of scoring.
I can see that.
I think the over-under on the total score in this game was 54, 55. If you've got a way to place a legal wager on the game and you're so inclined to do so, that should be free money right there. And then you watch, it'll be one of those games where everybody's expecting it to be the shootout, and it'll be freaking 17-13, 5 minutes left to go in the game or something. When you play fantasy, you see this. You'll be super pumped about a matchup. You'll have the number 2 running back in the league going against the number 31 rushing defense, and you just think he's going to absolutely – and the dude gets 35 yards.
Right.
And a touchdown. So it's not always as easy as it seems. But, yeah, I think – but I have a hard time seeing the Chiefs defense holding the Bills to 30 or
Right.
33. Unless the
Especially
Bills
when
turn
we're
the ball
averaging
over.
30.
There's weird things that can happen. The Chiefs could shorten the game, kind of use this this formula that everybody seems to think works against them so well that doesn't actually work so well against them, where you run the ball and shorten the game and eat up possessions and clock. So that's I think you're going to see the fireworks on display. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. Always going to pick the Chiefs. You guys got anything else you want to talk about tonight, or?
We do have one comment came in a little late here. I'm going to throw up from Elaine. So all the talking heads are saying that they're cracking down on taunting to help avoid brawls.
Well, I feel like the talking heads might be getting it wrong. Have we seen a ton of brawls in the NFL? I mean, there's been a couple jabs in my mind, but I've never seen like all-out brawls.
Yeah,
I heard that same thing too, right? That what they don't want is people like it escalates throughout the game, and so they're trying to stop it before it starts. But I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. I don't see a lot of brawls, but I mean, there's been some games where things have kind of gotten out of hand. The Bills Chiefs AFC Championship game is an example,
Yep.
right?
That's back in my mind.
Josh Allen bounced the ball off. Was that Chris Jones or who the defensive lineman that sacked him? Bounced the ball off his helmet.
Ogba or somebody.
And so the guy kind of stood over him, and then the dude came in late and cheap shot at him. I mean, I get it. Like I said, like I'm all for taunting, standing over a guy, getting in, putting your finger right in someone's face, screaming at him, spitting on some things like that. Yeah, taunting, getting right up in someone's grill. But when you're not even looking at anybody and you're just spinning the ball on the sideline, or you're doing a backflip in the end zone, or you're Travis Kelce and you make a big catch and you do the first down thing to get the crowd going. That's just they've overreacted is what they're doing. They've gone.
It's just weird that they made it a point of emphasis this year. Like for some reason that rule should be paid more attention to than any of these other rules. Like pass interference is out the window now, even though that was a point of emphasis a couple of years ago. Like they don't even look at that now, especially when it comes to Chiefs games. Like it's just the inconsistency is what's killing me, I think.
Yeah, I think that there's things that they could definitely address to make it a better product, right? That they could address it to make like the referees are best when they're invisible and you don't even notice them. And so there's things that they could do where they could like have the impact in the game that they should, but in the right way. But I think that sometimes what they do is they add this stuff in, and now like you got to look for 10,000 things. And so like you're looking for this taunting thing. And did the guy stand over him? And how long did he stand over him? Was he looking down at him when he pointed his finger, or was he looking at the crowd? Like, I mean, they're worried about that instead of, did that guy actually fumble that ball? Or, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like they focus on their own shit, man. And it drives
right.
me.
Yeah, so, I think that's kind of letting them off the hook a little too easy, though, as well. I mean, it's obvious when the dude's standing over someone taunting. I mean, I can tell it. You can tell it. Everybody can tell it. You know when someone is showing up another player and taunting someone, and when they're just celebrating. It's not
when one player's ripping off the necklace of another player. Yeah, okay.
Right. Yeah,
guilty.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, no doubt. But well, I think that's going to do it for episode 3. Unless you guys got anything else you want to throw in here at the end.
No, go Chiefs. That's all I want to throw in.
Right. Yeah, we had a lot of live viewers today. I want to say thanks to everybody for the comments. It's good to have everything be interactive. We're going to put up Saturday game picks, and then just tune in right every Tuesday at 6 p.m. So
yes, sir.
Go ahead, Scotty.
Every Tuesday, 6 p.m., the Kingdom Cast. You can follow us on all social media platforms at the Kingdom Cast. You can hit that Bose kind of signaling you. Hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed the show. Force that algorithm. Maybe it'll post it up on somebody else's page, and maybe they're a Broncos or Raiders fan, and you can get under their skin a little bit, or get some more viewers there. We always love having comments. If you ever want to shoot us a question, something you'd like to have us talk about on the show, we're always welcome things like that. So until next Tuesday at 6 o'clock Kingdom time, let's go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs!